Yo, Incog, you want to come out here? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Buff Shop. I didn't really have to do an introduction today, so you just get the straight content here. Today, we have one of my good friends that I've also been watching for a while, similar to the first episode. We have Matt O'Shea.
What's up, everyone? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day, and welcome to the Buff Shop, like Incog said.
Yeah, so Matt, tell the people what you do, who you are, because obviously there's going to be somebody out there who doesn't know you somehow.
Yeah, well, my name is Matt. I have been uploading Pokemon content for 6-7 years now. I run the Matt O'Shea YouTube channel, as well as the newly created Matt O'Shea YGO channel for Yu-Gi-Oh content. So if you guys are interested in those things, make sure to come on and subscribe.
Of course, of course. Let me tell you, I've been keeping up with Matt for a long time now, and it was only through my experience in IBL, which some people might know was an older league, and I got my ass handed to me, not gonna lie, because everyone doubted G-Max and Teleon. But you know what? It is what it is. But at the same time, that's a good friend of mine, and obviously having him episode 2, I was gonna try to have episode 1, but then Liv determined that she was episode 1, so I was like, you know what? That's fine. But Matt has picked out some interesting mons today that I'm actually interested to know about, because in the competitive format, even Draft League or just Smogon, these 3 Pokemon are definitely up there. So Matt, what do you want to begin with today?
So first off, I'm going to preface this by saying these are good Pokemon, but they definitely are not top tier. I believe that none of these are actually in the OU tier and haven't been OU tier Pokemon in quite some time. Even in Draft League, they've kind of fallen out of favor, and definitely in VGC, they're nowhere near the top tier threats. So I think we should start off with, in my opinion, the worst of the bunch, Florges. What do you think?
That works for me. What about Florges is what you want to buff? Because when you look at its stat line, 78 HP with 68 defense, 112 special attack, and 154 SPDEF with 75 speed and 65 attack as its lowest stat. It's a fairy type, only has 2 weaknesses, and genuinely is like a really good special wall. Obviously, it definitely has room for improvement, but I think if I had to guess, you might be changing its ability and maybe its typing.
So I definitely think that its stats don't need much of a change. Spoiler alert, it has the highest base stats total of all the Pokemon that I brought to Incog's attention today, but I do think it deserves a bit of a buff in its defense stat. Nothing significant, maybe 10-15 points at the absolute most. It really doesn't need the 75 base speed. It has it for certain reasons, I guess, so you can actually get fast wishes off or whatever and get big damage off during an offensive set. But I do think the biggest thing this thing needs is a better ability. And I'm not suggesting some broken things. I think that for, if you want to look at singles, something like Wonder Skin, which can make it so that status moves are less accurate against it. Effect Spore could be really solid in certain situations as well. Natural Cure, but mostly what I'm most excited for here is going to be for doubles, Friend Guard. That would take this Pokemon over the top, at least for doubles in my mind.
Okay, I mean, Friend Guard sounds really good. I think Wonder Skin and Effects are definitely better from my point of view of like, oh, Wonder Skin definitely makes sense for a Pokemon that's going to get status half the time by Toxic or by just getting burned and coming in on like burns for physical Pokemon that are on its team. And that'll make it very easy just to dodge those moves because they're not 100% accurate anyways, so it's really easy. In addition, Effects would be really neat, but I think it would just cause more problems for other people and ourselves. Not gonna lie to you. Imagine we hit a Florges and we get poisoned or paralyzed. Like, I'm gonna sit there and just be like, for what?
Just be good. Just be good. Don't get status. Just be good.
Oh, all right, buddy. All right, pal. But regardless, I think that Friend Guard is an amazing ability, and I think it definitely could use it because I'm not gonna lie to you, Florges has become a demon with Friend Guard. But is there anything else that we're gonna be buffing?
Yeah. So I think that in terms of moves, we really need to kind of give it a little bit more. Its special move pool is nice on the, obviously, the stab side. Draining Kiss and Moonblast are 2 of the best fairy moves out there. On the special side, having access to grass moves and Giga Drain and Energy Ball is cool, but then it's kind of limited to like Psychic and now the new water move, Chilling Water. I would say this thing could really use something like Earth Power, Aura Sphere, Shadow Ball, just really buffing out its special moves, as well as getting it back Heal Bell and Aromatherapy, and being able to get access to Taunt as well. And of course, returning Defog to it. All these different additions would really make it a notch above where it already was for both singles and doubles, and for an offensive set, it could put in a lot more work with those new moves.
I definitely agree. I think that having Shadow Ball is pretty damn important for a Pokemon like this, just because on the chances that it's going to keep fighting Pokemon that it is naturally going to like want to try and beat at the very minimum, or at least get good damage on. Like dark types, who cares, right? They're going to die anyway. But like something like any random ghost type, we can't touch it now because, oh boy, I don't have anything to hit it with. Yes, you could Terra into a type that can definitely hit a ghost type super effectively at the very minimum, but at the same time, it's like, why would I want to waste my Terra right now? Why not just have Shadow Ball? And I think Earth Power is definitely one of those moves where I'm like, yeah, this definitely looks like a Pokemon that should have it because it's a damn flower that's connected to the ground. And I would think, oh, it's going to be Grass Fairy. No, it's just Fairy. So I'm like, God damn it. I would agree on all the moves. I think that personally, Florges definitely needs Weather Ball. I think that's a really big one in my opinion. I think having access to Sunny Day and Rain Dance only tells me that you need Weather Ball to really complement everything else that you do. In general, I think that all the other moves are fine. I do like that it already had like a bug kind of move, just Pollen Puff in general, which is great for doubles, especially. And yeah, returning moves like Aromatherapy and Heal, but like honestly, Pokemon, listen, you are removing moves all the fucking time, and I get it, right? But there are some lines that we need to stop crossing. You are making Pokemon absolutely fucking useless every generation or so, just because you're like, yeah, I don't really feel like having that move on this Pokemon. Why do I'm gonna go on a random out flip turn in a bit, but
oh my god, I love flip turn. Come, please go for it. Do it.
Yeah. So, all right, I will leave this in right here, and I'm just gonna say it. Removing Flip Turn was a really bad decision for a lot of damn reasons, but you're fucking with my money, all right? Vaporeon is one of my favorite Pokemon to use Flip Turn for, and on top of which, you have Milotic, now that the news is out, coming back in the DLC, and now it lost one of the best ways to get out of a situation. What the fuck am I supposed to do now? Come on now, give me back my momentum, give me back my moves, and especially on something like Florges, maybe we just, why not give it Baton Pass? Let's fuck around and find out additionally.
It has Baton Pass. It has
it?
It's the first one you take a look at, yeah.
When the fuck did it have that, my nigga? It does. Oh my god. Yeah. Wow. Fuck.
It has momentum, which is great. But man, listen, just a quick touch base. You mentioned Vaporeon, Milotic. Swampert is now dead to me without Flip Turn. I'm just going to point that out.
Listen.
One of my favorite monsters from last generation, gone. Either way, there is so much that Florges can really benefit from. You mentioned earlier a grass and fairy type. I'm going to say right now, I think its typing is perfect. I would not change it at all.
I think Pure Fairy is fine. But when I first saw it with X and Y was coming out, because you know I was just a young man, you know, doing what I had to do as a kid and a teenager. But like, listen, my nigga, I thought this was Grass Fairy the entire damn time because I kept seeing it die to a poison move, and then I realized, oh wait, Fairy's is weak to poison. Oh, never mind. Fuck all of that. I think it would benefit worse. I think it'd be worse if it became Grass Fairy. Obviously, I'm not suggesting, but it would be funny if it had it. It's kind of like when fan games always say, oh, Megadium needs another type and give it Fairy. And I'm like, you actively have made this Pokemon worse. Why? But regardless, I mean, I agree with a lot of your buffs for Meganium. Meganium, now I'm talking about it. Fan games are going to get their own video.
Florges, come on, Florges.
No, I get it. I got it. I'm getting pissed off about dumb fan games again. But Florges buffs, yes. Florges is definitely in need of a lot of attacks, definitely needs different abilities, because while Symbiosis is cool on the surface and Flower Veil is okay on the surface, they are not great abilities in totality. So I think that Wonder Skin, among other things, affects Spore. And then in addition, you did mention Friend Guard. I think those three are great abilities because Florges only really has two. And realistically, you're basically stuck with Flower Veil unless you're playing doubles and you have a specific strat with Symbiosis. But the other abilities that we mentioned would be great no matter if it's singles or doubles, and they're situational sometimes, but they're great abilities as default as well. But in regards to moves, Earth Power, Shadow Ball, I definitely think those moves are needed. We just discussed Sunny Day, Weather Ball, and in general, I think that Florges just needs a little bit more help, and then it becomes a very menacing threat. But
look, let's call it how it is. Florges' abilities are terrible.
Oh yeah, they're ass. Yeah, no, they're absolutely dog water. But like, I like Symbiosis from a standpoint of I've used it in VGC before, and it's not great, but it's it could have been worse. It could have gone a lot worse. I couldn't have won a game, but I did a few, lost more than I won. But that's nor here nor there. It happens. But you know, it's terrible abilities. But
yeah, I do want to say that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead and finish up.
So I want to just mention that I forgot to completely discuss Leech Seed. Leech Seed is a move that this thing should have access to. If we're talking about it being a potential grass type, grass fairy, but even without that, it should have access to Leech Seed. If that was the case, I also would recommend that the different colors of Florges, just like Squawkability, get different abilities. So having like Natural Cure with Leech Seed, Protect, Moonblast, Calm Mind, you're kind of running through basically everything going max defense. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, of course. I think that each of them, you know, red, white, orange, and blue could definitely have different-ish abilities. I think that it really depends on how you go about it. Like, I don't know, the water one could possibly, or the blue one could have water absorb as one of its abilities. The orange one could have flash fire. The white one could have some other bullshittery. Like, there's some stuff that you could do with this Pokemon, but they're just not doing anything. And it's like, man, we need something.
For sure. I'm happy with the suggestions we've come up with today.
Of course. Now, with Florges out the way, though, what is the next Pokemon you want to talk about?
So let's go ahead and talk about one of the most broken Pokemon from Gen 5, and that's going to be Haxorus. This thing is insane, but it's so lackluster now because of all the power creep that we've seen the past couple generations, and it's made it so that other dragon types can do so much more, but still are around the same level, if not slightly better, of Dragon Dance Sweepers, which is the best thing that Haxorus has going for it.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm just going to say it right off the bat, we're rounding up the speed to 100. I don't care what anybody out there thinks. This Pokemon needs it. And why does it need it? You know why it fucking needs it. You know why. Every time I go through and start trying to build for anything that has to deal with Haxorus, I always know one thing. You're running Jolly, and I know why. Because you don't have the 100 speed that you should have, and I feel so bad. And mind you, Haxorus has some good things to it. It's some shit with some bopping. It got that first impression, got them other moves, you know, he got that dog in him. But what are we specifically buffing about Haxorus?
So I definitely think that what Haxorus is missing more than anything else is a secondary ability that isn't as, like, Unnerve is nice and everything for the secondary ability, we'll call it. Mold Breaker is a good first one. I just think that this Pokemon, with the massive axe that it has on its face, would benefit from Sharpness as an ability. It would be absolutely insane, and you would give it moves that would obviously benefit that. Something like you get access to Sacred Sword and Aqua Cutter. And I do believe that the best way to go about buffing Haxorus would be to give it its own signature move, which would be like a dragon slicing move that takes advantage of Sharpness, physical move, base 100 power, and that also has a second effect. Now, whether that second effect is going to be a chance to flinch or a chance to paralyze or whatever, I do think that is the way to go about buffing Haxorus as much as possible, so it's not always going to be a let's come in and Dragon Dance to try to win the game, or Swords Dance. It can be a good breaker as well, which is not the best set for it nowadays.
I definitely agree. I think that Haxorus getting Sharpness, and at very least, I'm just going to go ahead and say one hell of a controversial opinion. Why is Breaking Swipe not boosted by Sharpness?
I don't know, man. Honestly, even if it was 60 base power, it's not enough.
Listen, it doesn't matter if it's not enough, right? At +1 attack off of a Breaking Swipe on 140 with 147 attack, I think it is, you're still doing a lot of fucking damage with a Pokemon that shouldn't be doing that, but that will always be doing a lot of damage. But Sacred Sword, I think it gets Slash already. I know it gets Aerial Ace because I've definitely used it for sure. Gets Night Slash, gets X Scissor. And yeah, I think getting a dragon move similar in vein to like, kind of like Sacred Sword and Power, but it would have like a secondary effect of maybe flinching, or maybe just like something in general, maybe lowering like defense or something of that sort. Like giving it something like, I guess more so that'd be kind of like Razor Shell, but more power, where it has a chance to lower defense, and it's Haxorus' special move because it has a fucking axe on its head, but it doesn't really like do anything with it, and it's kind of just there. And I definitely agree. Like a Pokemon that like Haxorus Jet needs to fucking Dragon Dance just to win the game, and can't do that barely like 50% of the time unless, you know, it's a really, really great situation. Like he definitely needs something to where, oh, I'm Scarf, but now Sharpness is involved. So now therefore you're fucked. I don't have to set up anything. I can just hit you. And I have a 147 attack. Like I said, that's no slouch. That's a hard hitting fucking attack stat.
Absolutely. And I do think that you mentioned the 100 base speed. I would actually buff it to 105 because this Pokemon has been in the shadow of things like Salamence for way too long. And Salamence is so good because it has access to one of the best abilities in the game. It intimidates, it's got a wide move pool, it's got a great typing, even though it's 4 times weak to ice. It has so much going for it, and obviously being a pseudo, that's one of the advantages. I do think that because of that, it needs to be able to outspeed those Pokemon. And the other thing as well is this Pokemon came out in Gen 5. What other Dragon type came out in Gen 5? Hydreigon, which is 98 base speed, so 1 point faster than it. So it's always going to get beat by Hydra, and that's ridiculous for it. Because of that, I definitely believe that it should be boosted. Another potential thing that I kind of disagree on, but I have seen people discuss before, is making this Pokemon a Dragon fighting type. What are your thoughts on that?
Dragon fighting might be very, very minus in my opinion. I feel like you're putting a Pokemon that doesn't need a buff in that regard. Like, I get where people are coming from, right? I get that you would think, oh, give it motherfucking fighting type. It'll be a lot better. The problem to me is that you're just making it more weak to things, and Dragon solidly as a type is good enough for right now. Making it weak to Psychic and Flying, 2 common types within the metagame currently, I wouldn't do that. You're already weak to Fairy. Why become more weak to Fairy? Like, there's no reason for that. And in addition, from a I have to fight this standpoint, why the fuck would I want this thing to have stab close combat? Be real with me here. Come on now. I already lose enough matches. I don't need this.
So I'm actually saying it more from a defensive perspective because its typing is fine. Its stats are obviously not the best defensively, 76 HP, 90 defense, 70 special defense, and I'd say that Spadef could use a bit of an upgrade. But the fact that you now resist Dark is a big deal. I think that's a really big advantage that a lot of people don't kind of look into as much in this current metagame because we now have Chen Pao being banned from Ubers and banned from Smogon, from OU, excuse me, and Chi-Yu as well. But in situations like in Draft League where every team needs a Dark type, they have to have one. And now Dark types are so good, having another resist to them would be really, really nice so that they can't just lock into like Knockoff or Dark Pulse or Crunch or whatever it's going to be, and you can just freely come in, click your Dragon Dance, and then fire off a big stab boost to close combat. It's going to be pretty strong. So I think it is an option. Honestly though, I get it. I'm not like super in love with the idea, but it does make sense. And I do agree that with some people that bring it up.
But I think the thing about it for me mostly is that like when you compare it to something that's already Dragon friendly like Komodo thrives because it has a lot of other bullshit that it can do. And in addition, it has way better stats, mind you, than Haxorus, which is just because Haxorus is not the pseudo of the generation, obviously. So, of course, it's going to have better stats overall. But those defenses on 125, 105 on Komodo, and its attack stats are pretty almost equal, just attack by 10, and only sacrificing really HP at 75 and then speed at 85. Like, I feel like when we were, like, if you were to tell me, okay, Avery, you can draft Komodo or Haxorus, and let's say Haxorus is Dragon Fighting. I'll probably go with the Dragon Fighting Haxorus in the moment, but there's a lot more utility, I guess you would say, that Komodo brings to the table in addition to being Dragon Fighting.
100%, you're right on that. But I agree with you when you said you would pick up the Dragon Fighting Haxorus first. If we're giving Haxorus these changes here, we're making it the 100, the 105 base speed. We're giving it a tiny slight boost in the special defense. We're giving it that dragon move that takes advantage of sharpness and everything. I think there's no reason not to pick it up over Komodo because Komodo, while it is good at what it does, everyone knows that this thing, it needs to get up and autotomized, or needs to get up the Clangor Soul Blaze, or whatever the Omni boosting attack is, doing all these things to set up to be able to really hit hard, because 110 attack and 100 special attack, they're bad in this current situation, this current meta that we have, versus 147 attack with sharpness. There's no reason for Haxorus not to be picked above that. I do think that it would make Haxorus better, but it's not necessary because of the reasons we just gave.
Yeah, there's like, if you decide to buff Haxorus in this way, then it's like we're just making a better Komodo at the end of the day. And I like that idea, but like obviously I think that you would have to give it sharpness, because without sharpness, I don't know. I wouldn't pick it up. 105 speed is great, but then if you don't have sharpness, I really have no reason to look at that Pokemon anymore. But
I get it.
I'm biased towards Kamo because Kamo is pretty fun, and I've definitely done my fair share of defensive Kamo calcs. So I'm like, damn. That's nor here nor there. But I think this changes, you know, buffing its defs, buffing its speed, give it sharpness. And even if we were to look into it, a fighting typing would be completely fine. I think that giving it a signature move would be great. And making it just better than a lot of the dragons that were even in the same generation as it when it first came out, even generations before it, is definitely better just because Salamence already has a Mega. Hydreigon's already stupidly good because of VGC and just being able to Tailwind and such. And there's other dragons that are definitely better than Haxorus right now that have good niches like Dragonite, especially in VGC, especially in singles and multi-scale too. And in general, like other mons are definitely better than it currently. But I definitely think that it could definitely benefit from a slight buff to its speed because good lord 97 is so bad. But hey, it is what it is. But with that out of the way, we have our last Pokemon on the docket, and now this one. You piqued my interest as Haxorus, but now you have my attention with this last one. Go ahead, talk to the people. What about
So, just to preface this, okay? This Pokemon here I picked because I said I want to take a Gen 1 Pokemon, all right? Gen 1 was the first game that I played. I wanted to make sure that I had some representation. And Pokemon is good. It's missing something. And as I kind of went through, I was like, you know what? Maybe there's not as much to upgrade as I thought there would be. So we're going to go over some of the unorthodox things. So this Pokemon is going to be Gyarados. Why the hell? Gyarados has a Mega Evolution. Why do we need to talk about Gyarados? It's still used kind of in VGC because of Intimidate, it has Moxia. What are you going to possibly upgrade for Gyarados? I think this Pokemon would benefit from an Aerolate type of ability, but for Dragon moves. Because it is so clearly meant to be a Dragon type from Gen 1. 20 plus years. This gives it a good chance to do that while keeping the immunity to ground, while not being weak to Fairy. It has the 4 times weakness to Electric, which can be easily exploited. I do think that makes a world of a difference with a Pokemon like Gyarados. Just giving it that ability. And it's going to be a lot better. There are other things I have to talk about, but I just want to get your thoughts on what you think about that specifically at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, Hydronate, as we could call it for now, gives it a boost, you know, turning its normal type attacks into dragon moves and giving it a 1.3? 1.3? Yeah, 1.3 boost. So essentially you have like a Pokemon that has Thrash that can definitely hit really hard with it, of course. Facade, Body Slam. I mean, Terra Blast just would become Dragon Special, which, I mean, not many people are running Special Gyarados, but if you had the inkling that you wanted to, I mean, streets aren't going to stop you. And in general, I think that is a fine ability. And especially because it gets a lot of Dragon moves already. Dragon Tail, Dragon Pulse, and additionally Dragon Dance, especially, and then Outrage as well. And I mean, if you want to go down that route, Twister, I guess, if you want to count it, go ahead. But like, it's a really good Pokemon for now, but then like obviously giving it a new ability would be good. It already had 2 solid ones, but giving it a really solid third one would be great, because now you can just say, oh, Intimidate, Moxie is the 2 abilities, and then the hidden ability could be this Dragon kind of Aerolate type ability. But what else do we got for Gyarados here?
Well, I just want to touch back on that. At that point in time, you have 3 amazing abilities. Which one are you prepping for? Like, are you going to prep for defensive defensive Intimidate set rather, with like Taunt and Thunder Wave and stuff? Or is it going to be more of the Dragon Dance variant that's going to try and sweep you with this Hydronate ability, that's what we're calling it? I do think that it would definitely take advantage of a slight boost in its stats. It already has, I think it's 540 in its stats. Yeah, 540. I would give it an increase of 30, which would be a 9-point increase to its speed to get to 90 overall, and an increase of 21 to its defense to be at 100 to match its special defense. This would make it crazy bulky and would allow it to really be the best Dragon Dance sweeper it could possibly be, because at this point in time, you're able to take a hit from basically anything, get your Dragon Dance up, and then sweep with whatever you have. I love the idea of giving this thing, though, Flip Turn. We mentioned it before. Giving Gyarados Flip Turn would be an absolute game changer. What are your thoughts on that?
You're really gonna put me on the spot like that? That's insane to me personally. Flip Turn Gyarados. So originally, as you heard me say earlier, I was ranting about Flip Turn, how most Pokemon lost it because it's only Palafin and Iron Bundle that have it now. and Fitison if you want to count it. Flip turn Gyarados would be disgusting only on the basis because it has Intimidate. And imagining a Pokemon that's coming in just to intimidate you and you're like, oh shit, I gotta switch into my like check for this because obviously I don't want to lose this Pokemon right now. And then it flip turns on you. Let me tell you something, bro. I have made various decisions about switching into a Scarfer just so I can beat a Gyarados that's gonna probably Dragon Dance. If I saw that thing flip turn, I'm turning off my Switch or forfeiting because at that point, I'm sitting there like, you have too much that I have to deal. Because imagine a defensive, intimidating flip turn, Thunder Wave, taunt, give it any move afterwards. You have a Pokemon that is a beast and at the same time is just fucking annoying. And let me tell you something, flip turn would be scary as shit to just fuck around with. So yeah, I think that would be a really fun idea. I don't like, there are Pokemon this generation that should have flip turn, and honestly, now you made me think about it, Gyarados definitely deserves it. Cause like, what else does he get? He doesn't get anything else. Yeah.
Listen, why would a Pokemon like Vaporeon get it, but not Gyarados? It doesn't make sense to me. Either way, we talked about like making these Pokemon that are already above average and making it even better. This is one of the ways. Yeah, if you can give a Pokemon with Intimidate flip turn, you take advantage of it. It's like Incineroar and U-turn. It would be really good, I think, in many different formats because the immunity to ground, the fact that you can really force in the electric attacks in VGC especially. You pair this thing with like a Raichu with Lightning Rod, oh my god, you're in a really good spot. I do also want to say that this thing should get access to Power Whip again. It lost it. It had it for one generation and it was gone. I love the fact that it got that, to be able to handle all the water ground types that were running around, like the Seismitoads, Quagsires, Gastrodons, which is nice. But even more than that, I think that I'm going to show Gyarados a bit more love and give it its own signature move. It is a flying type technically, so we're going to give it a flying stab attack. It's going to be base 80 power, base 70 power, whatever. But in my opinion, it should be able to remove hazards. Okay, I think this Pokemon would be amazing with flip turn plus that move, boots, intimidates. You can be bulky as hell, you can be defensive, support, or you can just turn around and say, fuck you, I'm Dragon Dancing in front of your face and the game is ending now.
You're sick, but I get it. I get it because imagine a Pokemon that would naturally not like rocks or anything being able to get rid of said hazard. That's a Pokemon that you definitely don't want to see in the middle of an alleyway, in my opinion, because it's kind of like, what's the move? I mean, we have Tidy Up. Mm-hmm. What's the other move that can get rid of hazard? We have Rapid Spin, obviously. Mortal Spin, there it is. You give Gyarados something to where it's just a damaging move that gets rid of hazards and it's stab on top of which, like, you're giving a Pokemon that has been longing, like, it has the Mega. We all know that. And no one's going to take away Mega Gyarados, but in the near future, I'm just going to keep it a sec with you guys. Megas ain't coming back. We kind of figured that one out already. Nope. But you're going to give a Pokemon like this something where it's just like, you know what? I have to decide in the future if I play in Natex Leagues whether or not this Pokemon's actually, you know, oh, he jets a Mega Gyarados. Okay, cool. Is he going to have that flying move? Is he going to even Mega this game because this Pokemon's already insane? I don't know. You can get rid of my hazards. Dragon Dance afterwards maybe, or sub then drag. Like, there's so much to think about now, and I really like this idea for Gyarados especially because it's on the edge of being a Pokemon that can definitely surge to the top, but you give it these buffs, it's already a Pokemon where you're like, holy shit, this Pokemon's really good. But that's how I feel. I think it would be a really nice addition. I think a lot of these buffs would be really nice addition for Gyarados especially.
Yeah, I think that Gyarados is a Pokemon that has shown that it is good right now, but it's having a harder time keeping up with all the power creep that we've seen the past couple generations. Like, this Pokemon is not handling something like Annihilate very well because Annihilate just sits in front of you, bulks up a bunch, clicks rest, and then Okos you with Rage Fist. Like, Chien-Pao is going to be able to just obliterate this Pokemon. Chi-Yu, I don't care if it's a resisted hit. It'll break through this thing really well with a fire type attack, because you're not going to invest mostly in your special defense on a Gyarados. It'll mostly be like maybe HP if you really want to go bulky, you want to go with speed, you want to go with attack. It'll do work, and because of that, because of these buffs rather, I think that you're going to see so much more usage in Gyarados if you got this collection of increases.
Yeah, I definitely agree, man. I mean, Gyarados definitely needs them, and from a standpoint of just, you know, playing Pokemon for as long as we have, it's like there's just fucking crazy ass Pokemon out there, Gyarados, and all of a sudden over the years it has become just it's a disappearing act. Realistically, it's not good. It's not as good, and I'm not sitting there shaking my boots over a Gyarados matchup. I'm sitting there like, okay, all I realistically have to do is figure out whether or not I'm fighting someone who has a Terra Gyarados, and after that, all I gotta do is hit it with one attack and kill it, get it out the way, and that's it. And realistically, that's just how it is with Gyarados, and it's not that dangerous, it's not that scary, but maybe they'll give us a little something, who knows. But I like the buffs, I like the Dragonite ability, I like raising his defense, I especially like the flying move, and I think that in general this would make Gyarados more than just solid. It'd become a really dangerous singles threat, and definitely one of those kind of Pokemon where you're at the end of round 1 and you're going to round 2 and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and flip this, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab these Pokemon here. Because Gyarados would definitely be one of those Pokemon where I'm like at the end of a draft, because that happens all the fucking time. Yes, this is a call out to anybody who has to see me in Showdown. If I'm last, you're fucked. Do not do that. I will draft Dondozo and then a Mega and play Stall again if you do that to me. I'm very close. I hate doing that, because someone's gonna watch and say, yeah, I'm gonna make sure that happens, and then they're gonna be like, wait a minute, why did I do that? Regardless, like, listen, man, I've said it a ton and I'm gonna keep saying it. I've been on my bullshittery, man. I've been on my bullshittery for a long ass time, and people don't know. But regardless of anything that I've said today, Florges, Haxorus, and Gyarados, 3 Pokemon that definitely need buffs for generations to come. 3 Pokemon that have definitely been okay at what they need to do, but could definitely use some buffs. And Matt has presented us with some ideas. You can leave your comments down below about all those things. Matt, tell them where to find you.
Once again, you can find me guys on the Matt O'Shea YouTube channel. You can just go and type youtube.com/@themattoshea. That's for Pokemon, and for Yu-Gi-Oh, it's going to be youtube.com/@MattO'SheaYGO for that kind of stuff. So guys, appreciate you having me on, Incog. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yep, thank you for watching, and now I can do it on another video. This is the 3rd video now. Shout out to my channel members. Yes, sir. If you're watching this video, you can join the channel starting today, starting whenever, really. But shout out to my channel members, my brother Andrew. He is the Secret Rank trainee alongside my friend Charlotte. We have our tier 2s, our soldiers, Arlok and Ethio, alongside my friend Adam, and then our generals in the secret rank, Solomon and Sandy. Thank you guys for joining the channel. Thank you guys for watching the video. I'll talk to you guys in the next episode of The Buff Shop. Peace.